G'day, wonderful listeners. This is episode 64 of TrevsTalk, and I'm your host, Trev. Last week, I left off promising to report to you on good news I've had on the Moody Scholarship Fund project. I told you how I got a real boost from my friend Phil securing a donation for the Medjugorje Centre from Canning Vale Toyota. That put me in a good mood, and then on top of that, on the same day, I received a chain email from Anglican Archbishop Kay's manager of services. Part of the chain email said how Archbishop Kay had requested that word about the Moody scholarships was to be forwarded to the heads of churches in WA. Then another part of the chain was a letter attachment from Archbishop Kay to the Secretary of the Council of Churches of WA. That letter said, "Dear Simone, the Diocese of Perth has been supporting Mr. Trevor Nucky, President of the Medjugorje Centre, in providing funds towards the Mordich bus, which provided food and services to local Aboriginal people. This year, the fund has been redirected towards the Moody Scholarship Fund, which is aimed at offering financial assistance to primary, secondary or tertiary students. I have attached more details for your information. Mr. Nucky has requested a referral to other church leaders. I would be grateful if information about the Moody Scholarship Fund project could be circulated to heads of churches for their consideration. I wonder if you would pass on this information to the chair/facilitator so that others may have an opportunity to be part of this great initiative." End of letter, which was signed by the Archbishop. Wow, what a great referral for the Moody Scholarship Fund project. I can use that referral letter in meetings with prospective co-founders or supporters, not just here in West Australia, but in other states and territories, if I should think it worth a try, to expand interstate. Another part of the chain email was a forwarded email from one of the bishops from the Council of Churches, inquiring how he could donate to such a great cause as the Moody Scholarship Fund. I took that seriously and informed the Secretary of the Council of Churches of the bank details for the Scholarship Fund so she could advise that bishop or any further inquirers on how they could donate if it be their wish. There was another important forwarded email from a representative of the Salvation Army who had requested from the Anglican Archbishop's office as follows. "We have received this email in regard to the Moody Scholarship Fund. What an amazing opportunity. I wanted to inquire about who is eligible, to know who to share this opportunity with. Does the child have to attend a particular school? Is there only one or two scholarships available? If there is further information available, or someone you can direct me to, that would be great." The email was signed off with a kind regards. This was a breakthrough for me, because up to now, I had not known how best to approach the Salvos to unite with Anglican and Catholic churches together with the Vinnies to co-found the Scholarship Fund. But thanks to the Anglican Archbishop's referral to the Council of Churches, the Salvos had seen it and were prompted to inquire. So when I read that email from the Salvos, I was stoked. Here was my problem of how to approach the Salvos solved. It was like the spiritual world was working big time. I sent an email to the Salvos lady to make contact and answer her questions, and we are now working on getting together in a meeting when she finishes her holiday break. I understand she will contact me when she resumes work. So when I had the meeting with Anglican Bishop Kate back in episode 61, she must have given me a good recommendation to Archbishop Kay. In turn, Archbishop Kay has recommended me to all heads of churches here in Perth. And heads of the Salvation Army are now highly interested in a meeting to discuss their possible involvement. This is like a row of falling dominoes. At least things are falling into place. Now, only is the scholarship project falling into place, but so is my plan for websites. The website for distributing my self-published book is now active at journeywithgod.com.au, and the new Medjugorje Centre website for distributing Medgewater is at medjugorjecentre.org.au and should be active by the time this episode is published. There are still some things needed to fall into place for the Moody Scholarship Fund to have an active website. The Catholics and Salvos need to be committed to co-founding the fund, just like the Anglicans and Vinnies. Once that is done, I can arrange with award signs to display the 4 co-founders on the bus sides and display any advertisers as supporters. Then it will be all systems go. Reach out in the community and raise funds to help educate First Nations students. Sometimes I get inspiration or a thought comes sliding into my mind without me receiving GBs or goosebumps. That thought can be from the spiritual world though, as I have been shown in the past. The same thing can happen to anybody. They can receive thoughts from the spiritual world, but just not realise it. Most people are just not sensitive to spiritual possibilities. Yesterday, I had to take my wife to have a skin lump checked for cancer. When I learned I had to take her, I organised some reading material to read while I sat in the car and waited for her to have her appointment. I used a magazine called The Messenger of St. Anthony, and one of the articles in it was about charities supported by the Franciscan monks that published the magazine. Those monks support all sorts of causes in Italy and other countries. They help agriculture projects, breeding animal projects, clean water projects, and so on, mainly through giving funds to other charities that are already working in those projects. So it is a case of one charity with funds helping other charities that need funds. Reading that is when the thought came sliding into my mind that I could get funds for the Moody Scholarship Project like that. Once I have it set up properly, I could approach other charities like the famous West Australian charity Telethon that raises funds for giving out to charities in WA that are already doing good in the community. I could make a serious case to them on why they should help the Moody Scholarship Fund project. There is also the Minderoo Foundation, the charity established by Twiggy Forrest, the mining billionaire. They say one of their aims is to work towards closing the gap between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal education, and that is exactly what the Moody Scholarship Fund project is all about. Another thought was the Stan Perrin Foundation may be approachable through my friend Phil that works at Canning Vale Toyota. I believe the Perrin family receives a fee of some kind for every Toyota vehicle sold in Australia, and the Perrin family gives back to the community through their foundation. It may be possible for my friend Phil to get me a meeting with someone in a position of power in the Perrin's Foundation. So, by now, wonderful listeners, you should be able to see that once I've got the Moody Scholarship Fund set up fully, with website, etc., there will be opportunities to fund it and make it powerfully beneficial to Aboriginal students. I will leave you with that thought and catch you again next week. This is Trev, tuning out.